demonstrative pronoun with a singular form of God and its plural form, gods, appeared since the beginning of dynasties and throughout the various ancient historical ages. This plural form either points to a limited number of deities or the total of an unlimited number of gods. The ancient Egyptians knew the worshipping of one god in a specific area or nationally. They also knew what's called the College of Gods, and the Egyptian creeds produce to us the triad, which is the most prevailing, the four, and the octonary, and the small Ennead, and the big Ennead. The cult of a group of deities appeared in some temples, but they don't represent any of these colleges. For example, the group of deities in Seti I's temple in Abydos. They are Osiris and Isis, and Horus and Amun-Ra, and Betah and Ra, and Hor-Akhti. In addition to the group of gods in the grand temple of Abu Simbel, they are Amun-Ra, Betah, and Ra-Hor-Akhti. The singular word of God appeared in the texts since the beginning of the historical ages, but it's difficult to conclude whether the Egyptian believed in the unity and singularity of God, or that it was related with a certain god, like the god of a city or a province, according to the context of the text. The plural form of the god was also known throughout the ages, and without any conflict with the singular form. For many texts has addressed the gods in the form of one single god, although it included within the pointing to different gods depending on the speaker, whether it's the god of his city, his province, or the temple where he stood. It's strongly believed that the Egyptian believed in the existence of one great god and in the existence of figures and images of this one god, or they were his partners. The idea of duplicity represented an important core in the formation of the ancient Egyptian religious beliefs and his interpretation of existence. The most standing out example of this dualism is the division of two great kingdoms in the north and the south, and the constant confirmation of that through the titles and the royal crowns, in which the duplicity appeared clearly, in addition to the administrative system that's built on the same idea, and the vision of the Egyptian to the existence and the non-existence, and the world of living and the afterlife, and all the concepts and aspects in which the idea of duality played an important role. The ancient Egyptian saw in his formation of the divine assemblies the necessity of the existence of a pair of deities that combines between the two genders, the male and the female, to start this life, and consequently the production of this pair is other pairs. This is shown in the formation of the Ennead in Heliopolis, or in the octonary of El Ashmonain, which included 4 pairs of deities, each of which is composed of 2 deities. One represents the male entity, and the other represents the female one. The simplest form of a group of deities and the smallest in number is a pair. Few of them has 2 of the same gender. This exception is in the 2 sisters Isis and Nephthys, and the 2 enemies Horus and Set, whose infinite struggle reflects the duality of the world and the need of confrontation and constant challenge. As a general rule, The pair or the group of double sexuality is divided into a god and goddesses, which is embodied in the 4 pairs of gods which compose Al-Ashmonin's octonary. They are Nun and Naunet, Hoh and Howhet, Kok and Kauket, and Amun and Amunet, and Tenmu and Tenumit. There are also the 2 goddesses, Merit of the South and Merit of the North, and there are Habis. One of them is concerned with the Nile in Upper Egypt, and the other in Lower Egypt. The triad is the best and the most distinguished known division of the Egyptian deities in groups. Initially, it was composed by adding one to a pair of deities. In addition, the triad is the simplest and the best way of expressing the multitude for the ancient Egyptian. The triad represents a family composed of a father, a mother, and a son, imitating the human family, which means the continuation of life. If the origin of the triad is to be composed of a father, a mother, and a son, some triads that are composed of a husband and 2 wives appeared. The Trinity is the unification of 3 together to form a unit, which basis is 3 factors of any kind. Since the Old Kingdom, the sun god appeared in 3 forms that represent the phases of life of the gods and humans as well. For he is Kheperi, or the newborn, in the early morning, and he is Ra, or the complete sun disk at noon. And finally, he is Atom, or the complete, or the one who performed his full duty at sunset. According to an ancient text, the king was assimilated to 3 different appearances of the sun god. The text says, they created this king like Ra, in his name which is Kheper. You appear to them like Ra, in his name which is Ra. You returned in front of them like Ra, in his name of Atom. In the Middle Kingdom, a new triad appeared. It joined between Ptah, Seker, and Osiris. Some texts refer to them in the singular wording as a proof that they were treated as one deity, while other texts point them out in the plural form. In the New Kingdom, a triad from Syria appeared. They are Kadesh, Ashtaret, and Einat. The Trinity is a religious formation of gods in ancient Egypt. In the New Kingdom, we find mentions of a big number of deities related together in groups of 3 that form a triad, or what's known as the tri-unity. This doesn't just concern the god only, but the gods and the places of their cults. The perfect formation of this Egyptian tri-unity was specifically achieved in the end of the 18th dynasty. That's in the chant of Amun, which is kept now in Leiden Museum in Holland. The chant says, all gods are 3, Amun and Ra and Ptah, and they are unmatched. His name is invisible, being Amun, and he is seen by his definition of Ra. He is Ra in front of humans, and his body is Ptah. The time of the 3 on earth stays forever. Thebes and Heliopolis and Memphis, forever and ever. In the Ramesside period, an important trinity appeared, expressing the idea of merging and unity. That's when all gods were united in 3. They are Amun, Ra, and Ptah. Another trinity appeared through the qualities of one god, who is Jehuti, and that's on the walls of Ebed temple in Karnak from the Ptolemaic period. There, Jehuti was described to be the heart of Ra. His tongue is Tatenen, who is Ptah, and his throat is the one with the invisible name Amun. The triad is considered a phenomenon in the ancient Egyptian religion, from which the Egyptian obtained the bondages of fatherhood and sonship and marriage. The Egyptian assumed a life for his gods that resembles the life of humans to a great extent when they got married and breeded. This phenomena kept existing throughout the entire ancient Egyptian history and the Greek-Roman period. The sacred spirits of Beh or Be city or Boto in Lower Egypt and the city of Nekhen in Upper Egypt represent the rulers of the pre-dynastic period in both the kingdoms of the north and the south before the unification. These rulers were revered and looked up to as being spirits or gods that help the deceased king and support the ruling king. In the Pyramids texts, the spirits of Beh lamented the death of Osiris, who is the spiritual father of the king, and urged Horus to revenge the death of his father Osiris. The spirits of Boto and Nekhen were compared to the stars, which provided the deceased king with a golden ladder to ascend to the sky or heaven. This group of deities is composed of 3 spirits in the human form with the jackal heads, and they represent the spirit of Nekhen city, and 3 humans with falcon heads, and they represent the spirit of Boto. Usually they are represented performing funerary dances. They are pictured in the tomb of Ramesses I in the Valley of the Kings, in that ritual position, surrounding the king and rejoicing the renewal of his spirit. There are very few reliefs that show the ancient Egyptian dancing in daily life. As for the religious dancing, it was performed in specific steps that express reverence of the king or the god. For example, the dancers of Edfu temple perform their dance while kneeling and going backwards in the same time, as the procession of the king is coming in advance towards them. The hands are raised, honoring and saluting and admitting the king's superior powers that only exists in a god. The octonary is a double of number 4, as in the octonary of the city of Ashmonen, which was called Khemenu. That name means the city of the 8 since the Old Kingdom. This explains the creation theory that's related to El Ashmonin since the Old Kingdom, but the 4 couples were not mentioned combined until the late period. Some of them were pointed to in the Pyramids texts and their male members in the coffin texts. The octonary is composed of these gods and goddesses: Hehan Hawhet, Kok and Tauket, Nun and Naunet, Amun and Amunet. However, sometimes the 4th factor changes, for we can find it Tenmo and Tenmit, or Niau and Yaunet, or Gerg and Gerget, instead of Amun and Amunet. During the Ptolemaic period, The assembly of the octonary wasn't confined to just 8 gods, but the number reached sometimes 12 deities in 6 pairs. There are also the 8 deities of Heho, which represent the 8 pillars of the sky. Their role is to help their father Shu, the god of the air, to lift up the sky, of which the spells of the coffin texts of El Bersha talked in details, and also the book of the celestial cow from the New Kingdom. The 8 Heho support the body of the cow or the sky, just like what's pictured on the sides of the outer casket of King Tutankhamun and the tomb of Seti I in the Valley of the Kings. In that book, the sky's cow is lifted up by God Shu with his arms, and 8 Heh gods help him in that lifting, 2 on each side of the cow's legs, which are the sky's pillars, and support it with their arms. Shu stands in the middle and supports the belly of the cow, on which the stars of the skies are pictured. Close to the stars, 2 divine boats are pictured. The Ennead is the most important amongst all the colleges of gods. It's a condensed form of the triad repeated 3 times. That was embodied in the appearance of the Ennead of Heliopolis, which became the prototype of other Enneads in the deities' college and are presented in the lists of the gods since the Pyramids texts. Zita has read the different shapes of the Ennead name as Sejet, and thus the Dictionary of Berlin put the same reading and connected it with the word of number 9. But Griffith thinks it's read as Sejet Netru based on the mentioning of the word twice in the papyrus of Golnshaf. It isn't certain that the figures of Set and Geb from King Zoser's time are a part of Ennead or not, because they seem to be an ancient group called Ghet or college. Moreover, naming Zoser with Hor's name confirms that he is the greatest deity in that holy college. The Hor or Horus name of King Miscellaneous, which is originally Min Kau Ra, means the bull of the master of the Ennead. In conclusion, the college was used replacing the Ennead at the time when the sun god appeared. Each group refers to an abundant, unlimited number of gods. It could also mean, in a later period, all gods. The Ennead of Heliopolis are Atum, Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys. It's not necessarily that the number of the Ennead is restricted with 9. Sometimes the members of Ennead is just 7, as in Abydos, while in other cases it reached 15, as in Thebes. The singular triad, octonary, and Ennead colleges had all played extremely important roles in composing the ancient Egyptian religion, which by turn formed the basic foundations of the magnificent ancient Egyptian civilization.